All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So we've got a good viewer request here, and I was actually a little late on making Dish, so I do apologize for that. But we'll take a look at Dish Network, we'll look at BKKT, and then we will quickly touch upon AVTX and MULN, kind of the same thoughts for those. So look, starting with Dish, okay, I am never gonna talk about, short squeeze, this, manipulation, that. Like, that's not what I'm here for. That's not how I gain my views, subscribers, none of that, right? But I like what Dish Network's doing. I think there's a lot of really interesting technical things happening here, all right? Don't get me wrong. If a squeeze comes and the meme army volume comes, I'll take it all day, right? Like, oh, for sure, for sure. But again, what I'm looking for are good technical setups and movements, and really that's what Dish has been dropping so far, right? So we'll touch on that one. BKKT is an interesting one because, again, one thing I talked about the last time I covered it was I wanted the stock to prove history was no longer going to repeat itself, all right? And it's been doing its best to try to show it, but it hasn't been enough. So that one's on the border still. I still think that there's reason to think good thoughts. I don't want to necessarily say bullish thoughts, but I'm not quite 100% bearish or like lost hope on that one. I think there's still time to show its true self, okay? And then AVTX and MULN. All right, I am never going to tell you what to do with your money. I'm never going to tell you to buy. I'm never going to tell you to sell. Like, I'm just a dude with opinions, right? All-time lows is a black hole vortex, and I say that for a reason. And I mean, today is the example of why, all right? So we'll cover all that and more, but before I go any further, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short-term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video all over the place, comment good or bad if you disagree. Look, anything you can do really does help me out, but for real, just being here and giving me your time, I am so grateful for it all right? So let's get into Dish Network, all right? And I normally start with the technicals, but I actually want to talk about the news a little bit. So Dish Network just got approval for the merger, okay? And my general comment really is, if a company makes a merger that requires the government to approve it, it was probably a good acquisition, okay? What does that mean? Look, any company can acquire any company at any time, all right? And generally speaking, there's not a lot of reviews in it. Obviously, there's going to be some safety things. With the Dish Network one, there were some monopoly concerns. They thought Dish Network might become too big and too powerful based on who they just acquired. I'll be honest, I really don't know who. I didn't go too deep in the headlines, right? But hey, the merger was approved, okay? And to me, again, just kind of echoing what I just said, the fact that they needed to review it, to me, makes me feel like Dish made a good move. Dish made a big splash in acquiring whatever they did. I don't know if it was another like network provider. I don't know if it was this like new online platform, whatever it might be. It was a big enough move that it needed to get reviewed, and the fact that it was approved is big. Okay, so that's on the news side. I hope you see it before I say it, right? But red, green, like textbook magic, right? Like it's one of my wife's favorite sayings on the Discord. I'm telling you, I know it literally just happened today. Give me a second. Sorry, 1 second. I hate zooming so much. Right here. I give a nice little red to green, and he hears my, like, I say that often because it happens, right? And to me, that's a technical move. That has nothing to do with short squeeze, nothing, right? Because the other thing that happens is it breaks the 20 and goes to the 50. It happens right in the red, break this, go to this, break. I'm telling you, this is technical movement, all right? And look, where are we right now? we're battling the 50 moving average, all right? There were moments where it looked like it was going to slip slip below. There were moments where it was actually going to do a little bit better than yesterday. Today was an interesting day. What I really love is, okay, we're definitely a decent ways away from the actual line. And look, I actually would say we're either exactly on it or maybe just a little higher than half of this candle. So I think today was a good day, even though it was red. And look, it wasn't that long ago our RSI was pushing 84. All right, we're now down to 77. 77 is still a little high, you know what I mean? So I'm just zooming out to see. It looks like, I hope it doesn't come down to 50. Maybe we can argue that, but even 60 is a little low. Look, end of the day, all right, it's been a long time since we've broken that 50 moving average line. Clearly, we lost it right here in the middle of August, all right? It stopped us once, it stopped us twice. Let's see what happens the third time. I generally actually say, I think it needs 4 or 5 times before a line breaks, all right? Again, we just counted 3, right? And really, let's be blunt. Yesterday was actually the first time it even closes over the line, right? So in a lot of ways, these might not even count as one, and maybe this was the real one, all right? Overall, look, I think it's a healthy battle with this 50. Again, it's been months and months and months and months since we even closed over it, right? I love the distance between the 50 and the 100. There's enough time to battle and stay with this 50, enough time to maybe let the RSI come back down just a little bit before we reset and go. You know what I mean? If I was to say how low this might go, I can see this actually maybe dropping to 425. I think 425 might be as low as it goes, because again, I'm kind of guessing right now, right? But it looks like maybe 420, 422. It looks like that's where the 8 moving average is probably gonna hit tomorrow. Again, I don't know the math behind these lines. I'm not here pretending to be some like math genius, stock guru, none of that, right? You know that if you've watched my videos. I hope you believe that if you're new here, right? But yeah, I think this little battle with a line we haven't hit, a very difficult line, don't get me wrong, like so far so good. And look, volume hasn't been beautiful, all right? It's definitely been way better than bad. That's an easy thing to say, right? But we haven't consistently broken the 50 line. We haven't like broken it nicely either. I mean, this is essentially just living on the line, right? We need a few pops above it. We need a few holds above it. And really, the only thing I think I'm also going to just add is I'll probably add, I think that's a good line. Yeah, I think that's a good line. Because again, I think from the 50, we'll come here. If we can break that, we'll go there. If we can break that, we'll go there. If we can break that, we'll go there. I am not here to talk about anything above the 2. I'm not even trying to discuss a $6.70 target. I know, because I've seen it. There are people talking $20, $40. Like, no, don't do that to yourself, all right? Because if we moved from 4 something to 6 something, dude, that's almost a 50% move, right? But if you're waiting for 20, you're going to completely disregard that and you might miss it, right? That's a big reason why I talk about slow and steady, baby. You know what I'm saying? So do not think about anything, because just look at the line. We haven't even talked about the 100 yet, right? But dude, this purple 200 moving average has not even been touched, not even been wicked, has absolutely been this impossible nothing since November of 2 years ago. We are now going into the 3rd year of never remotely even like, if you're sitting here thinking $8 or higher, you don't do that to yourself. All right? Again, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. You know that, right? But these 5 lines are hard to break. We haven't even broken the 3rd one yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're physically over it, but we haven't broken it yet. All right. So slow and steady is not a bad thing. Believe me when I say that. All right. Interesting weekly. So there's a couple things jumping out to me. All right. Obviously today was just the first day, right? But yeah, not a lot of volume today, right? We're expecting to be near 50 million. In a 5-day week, we need to be at least at 10 million a day to get to 50, right? I'm roughly saying that white line there, what is it exactly? It's 46 million, right? Let's just round to 50. Yeah, I think we could have used a couple million more shares today, actually. I think that's the first thing that's catching my eye. Overall, look, like I said, kind of on the daily, volume's been relatively good, especially the last like month, right? We just haven't smashed the 50 on the weekly, and obviously that's going to be the case if we can't smash it on the daily, right? But one more time, Dish Network, I'm not here looking for a crazy squeeze. I'm looking for a nice technical move. I'll take anything more than that it wants to give, right? But slow and steady, I like my lines here. Please let me know if you disagree. Don't ever hesitate to, all right? Otherwise, let's come into BKKT. Okay, clearly you hear me say it on every single video. Any ticker. Doesn't matter what the 4 letters are, sometimes 3 letters, sometimes 5 letters, doesn't matter. Bad things happen under the 8 and the 20, okay? We are clearly under the 8, but let's see if the 20 can hold, all right? And that's the part of the game when these two lines are our moving supports, you know what I mean? So you know I love to just bounce on the 8. That's what I love. Never lose the 8 is an amazing thing, right? But hey, if we're gonna slip below it, let's at least use the 20. We can very easily bounce up from there, okay? The really big thing that I want to bring up, because I think it might have been actually a couple weeks, I don't know if it's been a full week or even maybe 2 weeks since I covered this, all right? With BKKT, the whole story is the 200 moving average. Now, don't get me wrong. It's sitting down here, and we at one point were well up here. I mean, hey, we're still up here comparative to the purple line, right? But I will be honest, all right, as I always try to be, you know that, right? But none of this 1 week, 2 week, 3 week movement makes me believe we've broken the 200. Listen, there's a difference between physically being over some lines and breaking some lines, all right? If you watch my videos, that's something I talk about. Again, if that doesn't make sense to you, throw them in the comments, all right? I'm a little behind on replies, but I'll get to you. You know that, right? But look, this is an insignificant nothing of a candle, all right? So that doesn't count to me. We get over it. We cannot confirm. Beautiful candle. Can't do a second day follow through. Beautiful candle. Doji never counts, right? And then from there, some more insignificance. But we've never been able to do this. A good back-to-back 2-day candles above the 200. And because of that, I'm still here wondering if we've actually broken the 200. Now look, we've done way better than this moment. I think that's a really, really easy thing to say. We actually tried to use the 8 moving average as a bounce, as opposed to just getting over and then quickly losing it and coming even lower, right? So I'm happy that this moment is doing better than this moment. And I know it seems relatively far, but hey, it wasn't too long ago that we were battling it. There was another little moment right here. Like this 200 seems like it wants to do something. And again, outside of these two little moments, it's been a really hard line, right? So I like the fact that we've been pushing it. What am I expecting now? Look, I will say, I don't like that MACD, I don't like that RSI, and I don't like the volume. So that does make me in a lot of ways believe that the 20 moving average won't hold it. We actually might fall below that 157 if you're looking in the box over there to my left right now. However, I don't think we're going to lose these 3 lines. All right. You often hear me say it's really hard to break one. It's really hard to break multiple. Hey, it's really hard to lose multiple as well. And there's 3 really important lines really tight right here. I don't think that this is going to go any lower than 134. And really what I would love is if this comes back down towards 134, that should very nicely reset the RSI. Not that it got too high, right? It's not like we were like pushing 80s, 90s, but you know, this is actually as high as it kind of goes right now, right? So we hit the same wall that we hit on this last attempt. We need to come down a little bit. I don't think we're going to go too far down, but I think we're going to go down just enough to hopefully zoom back up. Again, as long as we can hold these 3 lines, I'm going to be confident. Now, look, don't get me wrong. We lost multiple lines right here, right? So we're hoping the stock makes us believe history will not repeat itself. Because you always hear me say, a stock knows history. BKKT knows that this 200 average purple line is a pesky little line, all right? So I need to believe, I want to see a bounce on that line or 2 good green candles in a row. That's essentially what I'm looking for, all right? Before I move to the weekly, look, I have not even remotely mentioned the one world currency in any of my thoughts, right? You know, and if you don't know, I'm obviously going to repeat it, right? But to me, there's a long way to go before any sort of one world currency. And I'll be real honest with you, I personally don't believe in a one world currency. If there was to be one, I believe in gold, the first, maybe even Bitcoin as a number 2. But even with Bitcoin, there's now so many altcoins under it that even that in its own way is so diluted that might even the altcoin world might be hard to bring down to a single one, right? And then from there, again, I keep saying it, there's so much hate in the world, right? Obviously, the Middle East hates everything in the Middle East. Africa, there's so many nations that hate each other. South America, there's a lot of war. There are still dictators all over the globe right now, right? Like, let alone all the countries that secretly hate the United States but are like pretending to be friends with it. Like, there is so much hate in the world. It's hard for me to believe we're all going to shake hands and say this is the one world currency. Again, maybe I'm too pessimistic. I don't know, right? Regardless, okay, I'm looking at this 100% purely on a technical move. If we bounce on the 200, break all 5 and fly, okay, we've been physically above them. We got to the first resistance too, right? But I don't think we've broken all 5 just yet. Make me believe that, and yeah, that'll be an interesting play here, all right? We'll look at the weekly really quickly. Hey, okay, this actually is starting to make a little bit more sense too, and I think I remember talking about 283 being a lot more difficult than it's been a while since I've covered this, I think. This 100's no joke on the weekly. There is no 200. This is a brand new line, right? So that's going to be a difficult line to break for sure, right? And where are you comparatively? So this is sitting at 231, the 100 on the weekly. Where are you? Oh yeah, I'm not even close. Wow, that was really dumb. Sorry, there was no connection there. My apologies. But let me at least see this. Where are you at? 136. Is there anything down here? Yeah, look at that. Look how thick all that is on the weekly. Look how thick all that is on the daily. It should be very difficult to lose, actually. Hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions, even if you disagree. You know that, right? I'm not here to hate on any thoughts, okay? Let's jump into AVTX. Okay. Very, very quickly, I am not here to spread fear. I am not here to tell you what to do with your money. I am not going to tell you what to buy. I am not going to tell you what to sell. I'm just a dude giving opinions, all right? One thing I talked about when this lost the all-time low support line, right? And again, you can clearly see it. There's nothing under this. All-time lows is a black hole vortex. And all it does is eat 20% of your money, and then another 20% of your money, and then another 20% of your money, another 20. It just keeps doing it until, and again, I say this with love, I don't mean to offend anyone, until the hand of God comes down from the heavens for no reason at all to save it. That's what happens when you lose an all-time low support, especially one that's just been bouncing, and like this was a strong line. And I kept saying it, after 9, we're going to come to 7. After 7, we're going to come to 5.5. Today, we lost 5.5 and ate another 20%. Like, it's a dangerous place to be in all-time lows, okay? I know the thought is, wow, it's so cheap. How much cheaper can it get? Dude, it can get so much worse because they can still do this and that. And I'm not trying to, like, you know what the this and that is. And if you don't, oh man, but like, I'm not trying to like make any assumptions or say there is still so much more bad that can happen. And to me, that's always the expectation when you're under all-time lows, all right? I don't know a lot about the pipeline that this thing has. I don't know a lot about the fundamentals that this thing has. Like, I'm just here letting the colorful lines tell a story, right? And yeah, when we lost 9, if you've watched the videos, 5.5 is where I kind of expected maybe a turnaround. It decided to lose another 20% at that point, right? 23, right? So, I hate it when a stock goes down. Like, I want everyone to be green, 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 right? But this is the reality. And to me, just learn from this, right? Like, there's a reason why I call it a black hole vortex every single time. I've seen a few outliers where like silly things happen and all of a sudden it flies for no reason, but that's all it is an outlier, right? AVTX, this is rough. This is rough. Again, you go away from the 8, you come to the 8, you go away from the 8. Maybe we'll come up to the 8 at some point, but yeah, I mean, we're at the mercy of the lines here, all right? And then Mullen, again, I'm not here to spread fear. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money, right? Like, I am not here for any of that. But when you can't break the 8 and the 20, and then when you fall into all-time lows, this is what happens. We have very quickly gone from 22 cents, almost 50% down the toilet, almost at 11, right? We're sitting at 13 right now. There was a baby moment of hope, but again, if you can't get over the 20, I'm expecting you to go back under the 8 and fit. Like, I'm not here to spread fear. I'm not here to like tell you to buy and sell. Like, but one thing you will always hear me say is bad things happen under the 8 and the 20. Even worse things happen in all-time lows, all right? So learn from these moments. That's the best thing I can tell you, all right? I used to be a really bad trader, all right? I learned from moments and I learned not to repeat stuff, right? So, hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions, even if you disagree. Otherwise, I appreciate you.